Stogie said, what happened to the other Warcraft games anyhow?
All cancelled. Literally all cancelled. Thanks, Blizzard.
Yeah, all cancelled when, certainly when me and Matt were thinking about FF. More you thinking about FF. One of the things you immediately realize is there are so many Final Fantasy games that are not main numbered entries.
Far too many.
And they're all completely incomprehensibly named. But the point is, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, they definitely want to give you games. And I certainly feel like there is room for AA and AAA Warcraft experiences. I think the issue there, if you're really just asking like what happened to that, I would say what happened to that is opportunity cost. Because like, could Blizzard go and try to make like an 8-hour or 12-hour long narrative action adventure game, like an Uncharted thing in the Warcraft universe? And the answer is yeah, totally. They absolutely could. I guess they'd have to poach a lot of Naughty Dog and Santa Monica staff, but I'm sure they could do it. Right, Bobby probably has the money. But ultimately, if they did have that talent, would they make a game like that? Well, no, because they're not really trying to push their own game console. They would be thinking, well, no, we need to put this into multiple 1,000-hour-long games, like Overwatch, like World of Warcraft, like Diablo 4. Because there's just more recurring revenue in that. And it just makes more money, right? Yeah. It just makes more sense when you think about opportunity cost. So if there is going to be another mainline World of Warcraft game, like it or not, and I would say don't like it, but you have to think, what's another Warcraft game? Main parameter, it must be a live service.
Archetype Rumble.
Yeah, like I guess what is a main PC and console Warcraft experience that is still a live service, because that is the only thing that will be acceptable to Blizzard. Now, there's one company who's got around this problem, and that's Riot Games. Because if you think about every single internally developed Riot Games project, they are all 1,000-hour games with decently deep, but not exploitative, long-form monetization. Yep. That is what they do. They're not going to hire developers and make small little nice games. But they've realized that people do have an appetite for more there, and that they could really stand to benefit.
And those feed the IP machine.
So they created a kind of like a little sub-label called Riot Forge. And the whole point of Riot Forge is to find independent development studios who would be able to make a game within Riot's owned IP. Yeah. So from that, we got the
Ruin King.
Ruin King.
There's Ruin King from the, I believe that was the Battle Chasers Night War people, because they like their MO is, hello, you make indie game we like. Make indie game we like with our name on it and our IP. Yeah. Please, thank you. And obviously they hand over a fistful of cash, and people love Riot's IPs. Like, fucking hell yeah, let's do that. There's like a Song of Nunu coming up. There was the Hex Tech Mayhem, I think it was called, which was like the rhythm game from the Bit Trip people, and you're like, hell yeah, I think it was Bit Trip people. But like, yeah, that's the way they basically set up all of these ways to feed the IP machine to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, because that will be, and then that'll all feed the MMO in the end, because I believe it was Ruination. So the whole big event they have, like basically like the biggest serious event they have is the Ruined King and Ruination, all that kind of plot line. But then they have a book coming out. The first book from Riot that's actually like a narrative book, a fictional book based in the World of Warcraft. Based in the World of Warcraft? No, based in the League of Legends in Runeterra. And it's called Ruination, and Ghostcrawler pointed it out because I believe the person who wrote it is on the MMO team. So they're going for the transmedia narrative. They're not going to put a story in the game. There'll be books, bastards. But it's more the idea that they know they're investing, like Dragon Knight says, they're investing for the long term.
Yeah.
But they're investing for the long-term health of their property, not just the long-term of their money. Because Blizzard are looking for the long-term of lots and lots and lots and lots of money. But they're doing it from the money perspective first, as opposed to the, how do we feed Warcraft? How do we bring as much people into Warcraft? And then at the bottom of the Warcraft funnel, we can bleed them for all their money. They're just kind of going, well, how do we make more bottoms of the funnels? As opposed to how do we create a stronger whirlwind effect at the top of the funnel? And that's where FF14 does FF14 has a pretty good example of it, like, especially now when you look at some of the financial results that FF14 is starting to get for being so big. You can see that the sheer reverence that the developers have for FF means that they will have story beats that they can use and characters and stuff they can use that are references, because a lot of Endwalker is FF4. Not like the super main story, but even like the MSQ that we're going through now, a lot of it is very FF4. They're using core themes, core ideas, core characters even, like a bunch of references for music and everything. And that's just it's just this one gigantic, like, multi-limbed creature that's just like FF14 is now effectively the core of it, and it's absorbing all these parts from all the other games that exist, and then kind of just keep doing that for like forever. Basically just keep making this bigger and bigger IP. To be fair, they really got super lucky with FF because that has these games aren't sequels to each other energy. Yeah. So they bake in that we can do whatever the hell we want in any game and connect them, as long as they feel like Final Fantasy, which is a whole, we could write a fucking 8,000 word like essay on what Final Fantasy is. You write a fucking I don't know, paper on it, to be honest. But that's a thing of feeding the IP, and that's what Riot are doing. That's what Square Enix know to do, even if they sometimes feed it a wee bit of garbage every now and again. It doesn't matter, because people still go, oh yeah, well, it's like time on brand, but in a way that doesn't feel mechanical to people. Yeah. So I think like that kind of comes across as obvious whenever you're looking at some of like Riot's lineup and you're like, oh, TFT and Legends of Runeterra and stuff. It feels a little bit more, they're aiming for time on brand, but they kind of get that by default. And they would get it in a really human, satisfying way if they went, here's World of Warcraft, or well, wouldn't call it World of Warcraft. Here's Warcraft action game. Here's Warcraft short narrative adventure. And then they can always pick up on those plot beats or borrow those plot themes for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And that 100%. Would just be, hey, look at that. Because that's one of the problems they have. If they can't do all their work in World of Warcraft of building a plot, do it elsewhere. And then bring it in. That'd be difficult to do without getting the, what do you mean I have to buy the other game to inspire the story? But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Basically, steal Riot Forge, do that. I think it would make sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what they probably should do, because they wouldn't go the FF route.
Yeah.
That said, I will also say that that's almost not too far from how Square Enix are doing it. It's just that they don't have a label and don't go to indies. They have a lot of interesting studios doing a lot of all their work. It's not always in-house. Stuff like Team Ninja. I was about to say Ninja Theory. That's a different group of people. Team Ninja doing the Chaos game, Stranger Paradise.